So I heard that DICE fixed Battlefield 5, and I had to see this for myself because you guys know I played the beta and I was very disappointed with the Battlefield 5 beta. The controls, it was like some of the visual aesthetics, just a lot of things were like up with that beta that just made it feel like a half-assed Battlefield experience. And I was really sad, because Battlefield has remained one of my favorite multiplayer franchises for like a very long time, and I've always enjoyed the single player in the games, right? But I've really been itching for like another engaging multiplayer experience from Battlefield, and I had good fun in Battlefield 1, but Battlefield 4 for me was just where it was at. I played that game like for like years after its release, and I was kind of disappointed with the World War II announcement of this game. I wanted a modern day shooter because everyone seems to be, it's kind of funny. Everyone complains about the modern futuristic shooters, and then they go back to like World War One and World War II. But now I feel like I'm in the same boat again, where I'm just tired of seeing World War II, World War One, and I want to see either like the Vietnam War, which they're probably not going to do. I don't know why, but they're not going to do it, or another modern Battlefield game. So Battlefield 5, I'm going to be talking about the campaign mostly in this video since, I typically don't like reviewing multiplayer games just because the gameplay is so variable. And on top of that, it's like you could suck at multiplayer and have like a completely different experience than someone who's good at it. You could have lag and all this stuff. You guys know why I don't like to review multiplayer games, but I will touch on what I think about the multiplayer after the changes and the continued updates that DICE is bringing to this game. So let's start off with the campaign. There is one thing to be said here, all right? Now, this is basically in the same vein of Battlefield 1. They basically take more or less a few different levels with different characters, and they focus on creating these set-piece moments. And this game, I felt, however, sort of took a step back on a few things. All right, number one, they give you less stories this time around. I believe Battlefield 1 came with like six stories. This one has three, or I should say had three at launch, and then they updated it with a fourth story like a month after its release. It just makes no sense to me because DICE did the same thing with Star Wars Battlefront 2. You played through the 4 to 5 hour campaign, really, and then about a month after release, they released a free single player add-on that took about an hour, and that was basically the ending to the game. It was like an epilogue to the game, and it's basically the same thing here with Battlefield 5. They released three stories, and then all of a sudden they released a fourth story through DLC is completely free, yes, about a month after its release. I just have to say, I know that DICE did not work on that story after the game's release. It just makes no sense that a story content would be worked on and then released a month after. What probably happened here is that EA said to themselves, what would look really good for us is if we released single player content, but we don't want to fund that single player content because everyone's going to be about the multiplayer. But if we release some free level of single player DLC like a month after its release, that'll look a lot better on us. And I think that's what EA did here. They're basically locking off content for about a month and then just giving it to you just so it looks good on paper. And it's kind of frustrating. Unfortunately, I should say, did not have to wait at all because I played this game about 2-3 months after its release. So I had all the story DLC, and everything just given to me right off the bat. But it does go without saying that I know that that's not the way that this is working. And I know that EA is trying to pull some, hey, look at us, we're making good decisions, type of business decisions here. And I can just see right through it. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can as well. All right. Back to what I was saying, though. All right. Basically, the gist is we have less stories this time around. And unfortunately, only about two of those four stories are actually compelling. And in my opinion, even come sort of close to basically the great story and set pieces that were in Battlefield 1. And that's something I really enjoyed about Battlefield 1's campaign. And I said this in my impressions video back then. I said DICE realized something very important. They realized that they're not good at creating long, very character driven, emotional storylines that could last 6 to 8 hours. They realized that, story writing is not their strength. And to their credit, every single DICE game that I play that's tried to do that, including my beloved Mirror's Edge, and even the Battlefield Bad Company series, when you kind of nail it down, have always been like, this is fun, but I'm not really like attached at all to like what's going on. It's just kind of ridiculous, and that's how I felt about the Battlefield campaign for years. And then when Battlefield 1 came along and they decided to do these set pieces and these little like mini stories, these sub stories, if you will, I actually had a good time, because I realized that when you just want to focus on the set pieces and you have slight character development here or there, keep in mind you do have a main character, throughout these stories, and they do try to develop it in a somewhat, kind of quick way, and it's mostly effective, but again, it's like, hey, this is a nice bite-sized experience, and there's like a decent amount of them. At least there was in Battlefield 1. In Battlefield 5 here, I just feel like they're kind of shortchanged us. They're like, all right, we'll give them less stories than what they had in Battlefield 1, but then none of the stories are even as compelling as any of the great stories in Battlefield 1 either. Like the beginning of Battlefield 1 is still like a vivid memory of mine. How great it was done with you getting killed, and you would switch to a different characters, and it's talking about the brutality of war. And they try to do this in this game, but it's like not even nearly as effective. There's like no character development, and it's just like a montage of scenes. And it's funny because they actually show some of the similar scenes from Battlefield 1 in the Battlefield 5 story, so it's kind of like I just feel like what we got here was very half-assed. Now, that's not to say I didn't enjoy myself at all. Like I said, 2 out of those 4 stories, one of which you're seeing here right now, are actually great stories that are compelling. This particular story involves this African American group, and I forgot what they're called, excuse me, but it's a really great story about that deals with like racism during this time, and basically all the respect that wasn't given to these guys when they risked their lives to go and fight out, and this is keep in mind during the French War here. So it's very, yeah, there's good elements, and there's elements that have really nice potential, but it's just it never reaches its full strides here, and some of the amazing campaigns like in Battlefield 1 that I remember, like keep in mind the Yemen level, when you were fighting alongside I forgot his name. Lawrence of Arabia. Yes. That was just the great set of missions, and I really enjoyed it because it was like so different. I never played a game where you were fighting alongside Lawrence of Arabia, and you have these gorgeous landscape and everything like that. And then there's there was that story with London where you were playing that sort of criminal that got involved into the war, and that was epic because you were like on the Zeppelin, you were taking down the Zeppelin, and it was just really cool. And there's just no moments like that in this game. There's like 2 good stories, but there's no like amazing like grand moments like that in this game. And that's something that continues to be the theme here with Battlefield 5, even going into the multiplayer. Each Battlefield sort of had like a theme, a running theme that they would advertise and be like, oh no, this is why this Battlefield is the definitive Battlefield experience. With Battlefield 4, it was like the Levolution, whole total destruction and everything like that. And it was pretty cool to see buildings and stuff completely crumble to the floor. With Battlefield 1, it was like, oh, look at our amazing dynamic weather effects that change up the map and everything like that. And it was cool because you'd be fighting, like, for example, in this desert landscape, then all of a sudden this sandstorm comes in and completely changes the way you play. In this game, there's no theme like that. There's no theme at all. Like maybe customization, is that the theme here? Because it's not gameplay changing like those 2 games' themes were. It's like, yes, there's weather effects in this multiplayer, but I've seen that before. Yeah, there's, these bite-sized stories for the single player, but I've seen that before, and that's basically what it comes down to with Battlefield 5. I've seen this all before. And yes, it's still fun because it's Battlefield, but there's just an inherent sort of it's like they didn't care enough to like try to make this thing even slightly different. It's like, let's make Battlefield 1 again with automatic weapons, lots of automatic weapons, and just kind of give it a slight reskin. And so yeah, basically what we have here is Battlefield 5, and it's not really I would say a game worth experiencing by any means. You can completely skip out on this game, play Battlefield 1, you'd probably have a better experience overall if you never played that game. And, the stories, both this campaign and, in my opinion, the multiplayer, which were much more engaging than this. And it's kind of unfortunate. Yes, I do appreciate that DICE, listened to player feedback and they took out all that crap. Like, you can't do the robot arms anymore on your characters. You can't, equip like katanas as weapons, and you can't have like gummy bears sitting on your tank. You can't do that crap. They took all that stuff off, and they made it much more of a in quotes, realistic experience, even though there's still quite a few customization options here, and that's appreciated. But then again, I just don't feel like that needs to be a talking point of development. I don't sit there and I don't say to myself, like, oh yeah, you have to play this game for its customization, Yeah, you can play Battlefield 1 for its weather effects, and you can play Battlefield 4 for its Levolution destruction engine, both of which are like really, really cool, and they change up the way that map feels. And there's just none of that here with Battlefield 5. It's like the same thing, just crappier. So unfortunately, that is the case with this game. And DICE continues to update it, and I do appreciate that, but it just has to be said, at this point, DICE, you screwed up 3 of your great franchises, each of which had great potential to, outdo themselves and even win Game of the Year. Mirror's Edge, I will never get over what you did with Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Not saying it's terrible, but it's just a complete letdown. It played it too safe. Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's like, what more can be said on that? That hasn't been said already. The whole game, like really, the hardcore fans really only play that game anymore. I have no compelling reason to go back into that game. And yes, you have free content here and there, right? But it's just like, I'm not like compelled to jump in there at all. It's not like Star Wars Battlefront 1 where it's like, yeah, there's some issues here and there, but God, look at the visuals, and this game's so much fun to play, and look at these maps and everything like that. I just don't have that with Star Wars Battlefront 2. And in Battlefield 5 here, it's sort of like, it's like this is okay, but it's not like good like the other Battlefield games. And so again, I'm sitting here and it's like 3 strikes. You've screwed up with Mirror's Edge, you screwed up with Star Wars, and now you screwed up with Battlefield. And there needs to be some major changes here. I want to continue to love DICE. They're one of my favorite game development studios out there, and I really do feel that they have the potential to be like, at the level of like Naughty Dog or some other acclaimed studio, but it's like they are shackled by EA, and that's preventing them from really, just outdoing themselves with an amazing experience. I would love to see, just a refinement of their IPs and just EA just give them creative control. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and then none of this is even going to matter because EA is just not going to do it at all. But it just pisses me off when I see such a talented group of people like DICE who have this great engine like Frostbite, and are capable of creating these really unique, amazing experiences of games like I played in the past from them, and then this is basically what we have. It's just kind of unfortunate. So anyway, I did want to touch on the multiplayer just a little bit in this video. Here's what I will say. I am enjoying myself in bursts, but this isn't one of those games where I can't really play it for more than an hour without, either being bored or just not feeling compelled as if I did in the previous Battlefield games. I remember playing Battlefield 4 for hours. I bought that game twice. I bought it first on the PS4 when that console launched, and it looked great on there. It handled great on there. And then I bought it again on my PC when I built my new computer, and I continued to play it. And that was, like, keep in mind, 2-3 years after the release of that game. I continued to pump hours into that game. In Battlefield 1, yeah, I didn't play it as much as Battlefield Battlefield 4, excuse me, but I enjoyed the game a lot nonetheless, and I was actually very surprised at how that game handled in the World War One setting, and I was very pleased with Battlefield 1 overall. So now I sit here with Battlefield 5, and I'm just, I'm indifferent about it, and I shouldn't be indifferent about a Battlefield game. I should be able to rely on this franchise to go to for great single player and multiplayer content, and fun. So that's it. All right, I just wanted to do that video and explain my thoughts. Let me know for some of you who are playing the game. It's funny because EA is basically giving this, well, I should say they were giving this game out. So I actually picked up this game for about $25 like around Christmas time. I just had it installed on my rig and finally sat down to go and play it. And so, it's kind of funny. It's just the poor, horrible marketing that EA and DICE did. I think that's what really killed this game overall. It's technically not really a bad game. It's competent in its handling and stuff. It's just in terms of the quality and what we got before, it's just not there, unfortunately. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will talk with you all later. Thank you.